Hey everybody, welcome to the film history course at SWIC. This is an online course, so hopefully you signed up for the right kind of thing. We are going to take a look at the course syllabus really quickly before getting into the course content. So here is the course syllabus. I have it up here as a video for you, but it is also available up on Blackboard. You can just click on the syllabus button on the left side and find the same document. So it is film history, film 215, section 1 or section IN1. You might see on your transcripts, it's the same thing. We are in fall of 2021. My name is Trevor Younger. Nice to meet you all. Maybe we'll see each other in person at some point later on down the line. Class time, we don't exactly have a class time for the film history course. It is weekly, so you do have to do your work every week, but when you do it during the week is kind of up to you. I would suggest that you don't wait until the very end of the week to do your stuff, because generally we have like writing assignments every week and it does take a little bit of time, and you have to watch a film or a series of films, so make sure that you pace yourself properly. But when exactly you do it is totally up to you. So if you want to do this at 2 a.m., that is just fine with me. It is on demand, so I'll post videos every Monday. You'll be able to see the videos. They're just up on YouTube. You watch the videos, you do the homework assignment, usually watch a film and write about the film or series of films or film movement, and then you turn that stuff into me, and we'll talk about that, how you do that, in a couple of minutes. So there are a couple of phone numbers here for you. There is the Illinois SWIC phone number. If you call that, you can find a whole bunch of stuff in the directory, so things beyond just like reaching me. If you do need to reach me, email is best. So here are two email addresses that you can use: trevor.younger@swic.edu or trevor.younger@gmail.com. My swic.edu email account directs to my Gmail account, and I check my Gmail account pretty regularly. So if you send me something via the SWIC account and I don't respond to you within a couple of days, that's a pretty clear indicator that I just didn't get it. And that has happened in the past. So my Gmail will filter out some emails from SWIC as spam, even though they're not spam, especially if you don't have anything in the subject line. So if you just write in the like body of an email and it's like no subject, that'll kind of trigger Gmail to throw it in the spam filter. But regardless, you can kind of send it to both emails at the same time and just be like absolutely sure. I know that my name is spelled kind of weird and stuff, so if you want to send me an email really quickly to put it in your contact info or something like that, that's totally fine. I should be able to respond to you pretty quickly and let you know that I did indeed receive your emails. The website for SWIC is swic.edu. I think you probably know that already. There's some helpful information there if you ever need to look at like the course calendar is at swic.edu, and COVID guidelines, all that fun stuff. Also, like when the college closes and stuff, that's posted there too. I know we're online, but you might have some courses where you have to meet in person. So course description, what this class is: it is a survey of the history of motion pictures, influential directors, and cinematic movements around the world, and the historical, political, and technological developments that have influenced the cinematic art form. So basically, we're going to take a chronological look at film from the very beginning, from pre-film, even before film was motion pictures, all the way up until the 1970s. That's about as far as we can make it. It would be great if we could make it all the way to today, but there's just a little bit too much to cover in such a short span of time. All right, prereqs. There's really no real prereq. You have to at least be placed at like the English 101 level. So you might be taking English 101 at the same time as this class. If you've already taken English 101, you're totally good. There are some courses that are like pre-English 101, so you would have had to have completed those if you didn't proficiency into English 101. So, if you're not in English 101 right now and you're not eligible for English 101, then maybe there's a bit of an issue. I honestly wouldn't have too much of an issue with you being in the course, so long as you're prepared to write a lot, because the class does require a lot of writing. Course objectives. So by the end of the course, you should be able to do all of these things. You should be able to identify important cinematic movements, genres, and periods. You should be able to explain the distinguishing features of the above, identify important directors and the characteristics of their work, explain how technological developments have affected the art form, and you should be able to analyze how social, political, and economic contexts have influenced films and how films have at times influenced society. So you'll get all of that in the course. It is kind of up to you to pick that stuff up and then apply it through writing, and then we have a couple of exams as well. College-wide core competencies. So there are these things that SWIC wants you to get out of your courses and stuff, and they're kind of like these overarching things that they want to build up in their students. So in this class, you'll get some computer literacy and you'll get some writing for sure. There are no textbooks required for the course at all. So if you bought something, please, I would recommend taking that back and getting your money back. There shouldn't be anything listed for the course, and you certainly don't need anything for the course. Now, just because you don't have to buy a textbook for the course doesn't mean that the course is entirely free. You will have to pick up movies however you want to. So the first few films that we watch are in the public domain, so you'll be able to just watch those directly on YouTube with no ads or anything like that. Or you might see them with ads, because people can do whatever they want with these movies. So that should be no problem for you. But eventually we get to a point where these sort of big movies from film history and stuff. Now, I've picked almost all of these movies that exist on HBO Max, because HBO Max has Turner Classic Movies on there that has, a plethora of really great films throughout film history. Now, you don't have to get HBO Max if you want to buy these movies or rent these movies from like Amazon, or pick up discs or something like that. That's totally fine. The library at SWIC has a lot of these films as well, so if you're trying to get out as cheaply as possible, that is an option for you. And then there's lots of libraries depending on where you live, that might have some of these films as well. All right, grading procedures. So students in Film 215 will create a film analysis blog via WordPress, Blogger, or another approved platform. Students will be responsible for weekly entries in their blogs relating to course discussions and films screened in class. Each entry must be the length of a 2-page double-spaced paper, not including any photos or multimedia that might be included. Various assignments and discussions will be given throughout the term. A final paper and presentation will be due on finals week. So that was a lot of information there. You will have to create a blog, and that is like a public journal, basically. I recommend WordPress. I have a little video that kind of walks you through setting up a WordPress if it's at all difficult for you. There are some caveats to WordPress. As you're signing up, it tries to sort of lead you towards paid options, but you certainly don't have to pay. It's totally free. You just have to click the free thing a few times. There's a free button at the bottom, and it's probably in small text and stuff. Blogger, I think, is run by Google, and if you're used to any kind of like blogging already and you're used to a platform, we're probably fine, so long as it's not something that I have to sign up for to see your blog. So if you can give me a blog URL, I can visit that blog URL and your writing is there. That's exactly what I want. There are other things too, and we'll get into that as we look at these things in detail. So online writing assignments. So these are your blog posts. It is worth 50% of your overall grade. So this is a huge part of the class. Almost every week you'll be expected to write approximately 2 pages of typewritten content about the week's material. This writing can be subjective in nature, but will be graded on its academic quality. Don't misspell names or titles, and research your assertions. So that is a big issue with these blogs, especially early on, that you'll have some kinds of grammatical errors or spelling errors and stuff. If you can get like a spell check in your browser, that might be okay. But what I would recommend is, you just write this stuff out in like Microsoft Word, which is now free for SWIC students. If you need information on that, email me and I can give you a little bit more. Or you can use like Google Docs, and that has some kind of spell checking stuff in it as well. And it'll also kind of look out for some basic grammatical stuff. But where I really see a lot of issues in students writing is usually with like character names or actors' names and stuff. That it's stuff that spell check won't notice very easily. So if you just open up like imdb.com and search for the film that you're writing about and stuff, you'll see how to spell these names. And it's a helpful resource anyway, because you might try to remember what a character's name is and just can't remember. The title of the film, you want to spell that properly too. And where it really becomes troublesome is like if you misspell the title of the film. So Gone with the Wind, if you call it The Gone with the Wind, like that's incorrect. And you do it 10 times throughout your paper, that's 10 points off. So make sure that you don't have these very easy to correct issues throughout your blog posts. So your blog posts are worth 50% of your overall grade. It's not every week. Starting out, it absolutely is every week. Towards the end of the semester, we get a little bit more lenient. It ends up being like every other week as you're starting to refine and finish your final papers. Exams. There are 2 exams in the course, a midterm exam and a final exam. So the final exam is comprehensive. It is worth more than the midterm exam. They are a little bit tricky. They're done on Blackboard. If you have notes, I don't mind you using your notes. If you expect that you can, like Google search this stuff quickly and find the answers, you're going to have some trouble. I write my exams in a way where you basically need to know the answers for it to work out for you. But if you do take notes during the lecture videos and stuff, that could kind of help jog your memory. And if you need to like use Google to remember how someone's name is spelled, I really doubt you'll need that for the exams, but that is an option for you. There is a final paper in the course. It is worth 15% of the overall final grade. Students will write a formal 5-page MLA format double-spaced paper on a film, filmmaker, or movement and its place in the history of film. The paper must contain no less than 2 scholarly sources. We'll talk more about the final paper as we get closer to it. So once we hit the midway point, we start talking about the final paper pretty well. And there are all these checkpoints along the way to kind of keep you from falling behind or making some early conceptual mistakes, like if you're trying to cover too many films, which is something that I see pretty often. There is a final presentation, and this is going to help you out a little bit if you have any concerns with your ability to write, especially in MLA format. So the final paper is pretty strict, but the final presentation is worth almost the same as the final paper. And all you're doing in the final presentation is presenting your research and your and your conclusions based on what you did with your final paper. So it's not exact. It certainly is not you going up here and reading your final paper. You have to have some kind of audio video element, and you have the opportunity to like kind of talk in a subjective sense. So if you want to tell your personal opinions on something, you certainly can't do that in an academic research paper, but you can do that in this final presentation. So if you write all about German films and all of your research says that they're so great, but you personally think that they are not as good as the other films in Russia coming out around the same time, then you are free to talk about that in your final presentation. You have to make sure it's between 5 and 10 minutes. It has to hit within there. If you go under or over, that's where you're going to lose a lot of points. You have to have some kind of audio video element. So even if it's just a series of photos, that's fine. If you want to do a PowerPoint, that's fine as well. Participation, 10%. Easy points. Students will be asked to participate in online discussions and other activities throughout the semester. So there are a few online discussions. They're just like kind of discussion threads on Blackboard that you'll need to kind of respond to and stuff. There aren't too many of them, but we will have one in this first week just to make sure everybody's on the same page and can do it. And then the rest of the participation grade, some people start to think that they're doing well enough that they can skip assignments or skip portions of assignments. So those checkpoint items in your final paper and stuff, they do go towards your final paper, but they also go towards this participation grade. So if you find that you are skipping out on any of the assignments and stuff, that will hurt you at least a little bit in your participation grade. Class attendance and individual responsibility. There are no regular class meetings for the film history course. Each student will participate by watching or reading the assigned materials at a time convenient for them each week. It is imperative that you participate weekly, but the specific day and time is at your discretion. It is each student's responsibility to find a way to watch the assigned films. There will be no alternatives offered. Contact the instructor if you need further guidance. So I did mention that a little bit earlier at the very beginning of this thing, that you have to work each week. When you work each week is totally up to you. Schedule yourself properly, but if you work erratic hours and stuff, you can do it at any point. Just try not to cram it all in Sunday. So our weeks restart each Monday. Now, again, I've picked a bunch of movies that are available on HBO Max. I think there's maybe one that's not on either HBO Max or on YouTube. So you might have to do a little bit of digging to find where that one is. But for the most part, I tried to make it easy for you or convenient for you. If you don't want to subscribe to HBO Max, or you don't have that with like a cable subscription or something like that, it's not a necessity. So long as you can pick up the specific films that I assign each week, you have to watch those movies. You can't go outside of that. Disability and Access Center. Students with disabilities who believe they may need accommodations are encouraged to contact the Disability and Access Center at 618-222-5368 or that other phone number that's up there to ensure that such accommodations are implemented in a timely fashion. So if you call up these numbers, make sure that whatever accommodations you need are reported. They usually report to me and tell me what I can do for you. I don't anticipate there being any issues with an online course. If you have problems with computers, obviously this course is going to be a little bit of trouble for you. So if you have any kind of reluctance to use a computer or type on a computer, I would highly recommend that you check out like the Success Center, and they can help you in person kind of get into the groove of doing that sort of thing. We are going to assume that you have some computer literacy, and you can sign up for a website, you can type in that website, you can publish your blog posts, and that you can work within Blackboard. If you can't or need some help, you can always email me directly, and I will do my best to point you in the right direction. But if it's very overall questions that I can't type a quick answer to, I might direct you to the Success Center. Okay, student learning outcomes. The assessment of student learning is an integral part of the educational experience at Southwestern Illinois College. To this end, the faculty continually assess student learning to improve student success. Occasionally, you will be requested to participate in college-wide and or discipline-specific assessment activities. Please take these assessments seriously. The data that is collected will provide valuable information to faculty and will be used to improve student learning at SWIC. So yeah, we are actually going to have a little bit of an experiment with exactly this. So we've been given a quick survey. It's kind of like a quiz that you need to fill out this week just to kind of assess your knowledge of film history coming into the course. And as much as you can just like not look things up or kind of cheat to find out the answer and stuff, that would be great. There's no points off for like getting any of these questions incorrect. We just want to know what you're coming in with. So again, just do it to your best. Just do it to the best of your ability. And no worries if you get even all of them wrong. No worries at all. Ethical conduct, academic dishonesty. So academic dishonesty, college policy. So academic misconduct includes but is not limited to cheating, plagiarism, and forgery, failure or refusal to follow clinical practice standards, and soliciting, aiding, abetting, concealing, or attempting such acts. Plagiarism is defined as the act of representing the work of another as one's own. Plagiarism may consist of copying, paraphrasing, or otherwise using written or oral work of another without proper acknowledgement of the source, or presenting oral or written material prepared by another as one's own. There's a no tolerance rule for plagiarism in this class. You will fail the course for plagiarized material. So the handbook at SWIC says the professor gets to decide what happens in cases of plagiarism, basically. And what I decide is you fail the course. You don't just fail the assignment, you fail the course outright. And we had students that have made it very far into the course, like almost to the end of the course, and then decided to plagiarize at the very end and failed the entire course. So please don't do that. If you end up in a weird position or something happens and you just can't get the stuff done, reach out to me, ask for an extension. Worst case scenario, you get a few points off. And really worst case scenario, you don't reach out to me, you get a 0 on one of the things and not an F for the entire course. 1 0 can be made up. More than 1 0, you're starting to get in a bad spot, but 1 0, you can survive this course with 1 0. All right, academic rigor statement. You are enrolled in an academically rigorous college course. Your success in this course will require a significant investment of time outside of the class. All of it's outside of the class, but beyond just watching the lecture videos. According to the administrative rules of the Illinois Community College Board, section 1501-309, it is assumed that the student will invest 2 hours of outside study time for each hour of classroom lecture time and 1 hour outside study time for each 2-hour laboratory session. So, you're going to have to do work beyond just watching the lecture and typing out a response. You have to watch the film. You have to do some research as well. This course is approved under the Illinois Articulation Initiative. The IAI is based upon the assumption that community colleges and universities are equal partners in delivering lower division baccalaureate courses. This course is considered equal in scope, quality, and rigor to comparable courses offered at other colleges and universities in Illinois. That is accurate. Okay, so there are some other things in the syllabus. Academic support services, students needing assistance with tutoring, library research, study space, computers, and internet access may go to the library or success center. Academic support is available district-wide with day, evening, and Saturday service. For more information, go to swic.edu/library or swic.edu/success center. So the library can give you a computer if you need a computer. And the Success Center can help you with writing, setting up your blog, doing all that fun stuff. Make sure that you go to them with specifics. If you say, hey, I'm in this class and I don't know what to do, they can't help you very much. But the Success Center is very helpful if you go to them with a specific issue. And they can always email me too if they need some clarification, and they usually do. Beyond the Success Center, I went to a meeting recently where they were talking about the OWL, the online writing lab, that you can access for help with your final paper. I highly recommend that. There's Scotty, which is basically the Success Center online that you can use for your final paper as well. Success Center people are a little bit variant in how well they do with your final paper. I've seen some very thorough responses and a whole lot of help. And then I've seen things that are more like kind of overarching, like here's what you need to do with the scope of your paper, rather than like MLA formatting stuff. So if you want something that's very thorough, from someone who really knows what they're talking about, the online writing lab is the way to go. I'm not sure if it takes more time than Scotty or the Success Center, but it is worth your time if you account for how long it's going to take to get a response, and then how long it's going to take for you to implement those suggestions into your final paper. Phones in the classroom, we don't have to worry about that at all because we don't have a classroom. But you can use your phone for the classroom in this class. Everything's uploaded to YouTube for you. New student orientation. All new students are encouraged to participate in the online new student orientation, where students learn about the many programs and services available to help them succeed in college. New student orientation can be found at estorm.swic.edu. I assume that that's still accurate. Policy for inclement weather conditions. Here you'll see if the college is closed down, you're going to have that broadcast on these channels. It'll also be up on swic.edu. Remember that, it doesn't matter whether or not the college is closed for us. So, if there's a snow day on Monday, your stuff's still going to get posted on Monday, and you're still going to be expected to have your stuff turned in before Monday. SWIC alerts. This is kind of important, especially if you are attending any courses at SWIC. You should absolutely sign up for text messaging alerts. So you can do that on eStorm, and there are some directions on how to do that right here. But if you're ever concerned about things that aren't inclement weather, like if you go outside and see a bunch of snows outside, you can check to see if you're snowed out. But you wouldn't really know if there was like an active shooter necessarily at SWIC. So that would almost certainly go out as a text message alert. So make sure you're signed up for that stuff just in case. Emergency procedures, general information about the emergency response evacuation procedures for Southwestern Illinois College are publicized each year as part of the institution's Clery Act compliance efforts, and that information is available on the Southwestern Illinois College public safety website. Emergency response guides and plans are available on the public safety website, and then there's a link for it. Official communication. Your student email account is the official method to communicate between you and your instructor. Official communication will not be sent to your personal email, Yahoo, WildBlue, Gmail, etc. So you can email me with like your Gmail account and stuff to my Gmail account. If it's just a quick question about something, make sure that you identify yourself, especially if you have an email address that is like doesn't have your name in it and stuff. That makes things kind of difficult for me to understand what's going on there. But if you have any kind of official communication with me, it needs to be through your student email account. So if you're asking me anything about grades or anything about something specific from your final paper, or you're sending me a copy of your final paper, or sending me an assignment because Blackboard didn't work properly or something, that needs to come from your student email account. And remember, I don't always get things to my SWIC email account if you don't have a subject line. So remember that when you're sending me emails. All right, so that is the syllabus, but there are a couple of things that I would like to add to our understanding of how the course works. One is most of these lessons have been recorded in advance. So last semester I did this course online, recorded all of my lectures, and then published them on YouTube. And they are still available there on YouTube. And there may be a temptation to go and look at those older videos before I publish the new one. And I'm going to publish once weekly. And then you could potentially do things in advance. I would highly discourage you from doing that. The announcements before these videos are going to change for you. Some links in there are probably going to have to change as well. And it's good just to kind of keep pace with the rest of the course. If you do a lot of things in advance and then you have some time off and you have to pick it back up, all of a sudden you might have some issues. Now, that's not to say that if you have a vacation coming up where you're not going to have internet access, we can't do that maybe 1 week where you do your work ahead of time and you're kind of safe to go on that vacation and stuff. If that is the case, I would contact me and then we'll kind of discuss it, and I'll let you know if that's an okay option for you to do. Now, the other thing is with grades. So if you go into Blackboard right now and go under grades, you'll see kind of a populated blueprint of how we're going to approach the rest of the semester. You're going to see all of the assignments that you'll have. Now, as you're getting your grades for this stuff, it doesn't exactly reflect where you are in the course. So each blog entry is listed at like 100 points, and then your exams are out of some kind of, it'll seem like random points. It's really, however many points each question is worth. But everything is weighted, so like you won't be able to see exactly what your grade is until the end, and it's kind of hard to do the calculations on it and stuff. You should have some kind of rough idea, but I did get some like responses in course evals that said like, why was this only worth 5 points? Well, it's not really only worth 5 points and something else is worth 100 points. So do keep that in mind as you start getting these grades. Also, there are quite a few people in this course, and everyone writing 2-page papers on a weekly basis. That means I have, 60 plus pages to go through, pour through, make sure that there are no misspellings or grammatical errors or any factual errors with films and stuff. So sometimes this does take me a little bit of time, and I can get like backlogged by a week. So if you see that you haven't gotten your grade just yet, don't fret about that. everything's going to be fine. I'll get to it eventually, so long as you have your stuff published. If you see a 0 there and you did the work, then reach out to me. Then there is a problem. Finally, something else that I see with blog entries specifically is just like this failure to research stuff. So if you go, if you write in there, I think Steven Spielberg was born in the 1960s, that isn't something that you should probably do, right? Like, you should research that stuff. Anything that's easily found online should not be left to question in your blog. So that is an expectation that we have of you as you're writing, that you'll do some level of research outside of the lecture materials. So we don't want to see like a regurgitation of the lessons that we have. Most of these lessons are just like really like a cursory look at a very big thing that's going on. So we go like decade by decade, and I'll spend maybe an hour on a particular decade. Plenty of things happened in that decade. You could certainly spread that out longer than an hour. So make sure that you do your research beyond the lecture materials for your blog posts. All right, so that is it for this video. You have 2 more to look at, maybe just 1 more to look at. You certainly have the first lesson to watch, but if you need some help with your WordPress, setting that up and stuff, that will be available to you as well. So make sure that you watch at least the first lesson video, and there are some instructions in there for what you will do for your first homework assignment. All right, welcome to the course. I hope you have fun.